Oblivion Ring. You'll get the thing for a little bit. Who cares? I'm going to win. And it's not in that, and these flip this way. And then these are on this side, and these are on that side, and then these are their own combo. Yeah. 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 Belmont Bleach is in the deck. Funeral Room is now on the deck. A little bit extra redundancies.
That's good. That's good.
Most important cards to kill in the deck are Sun Titan and Renegade Rallier. They're the least redundant.
I like a good Sun Titan.
Yeah. But how are things going on your end of things?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, chilling. Got back from the Eagles game.
Actually, at least they won. You wouldn't think so from the text I was getting from Bridget's family and from you. And like Bridget got home, she went on a run in D.C. on Saturday.
It was stressful for a while, but they pulled it out.
So I was like, so did they lose, huh? And like, no, they won. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't get any texts saying that they won or anything. Kevin's assessment of it is the best, I feel like.
Whose?
Kevin's.
Oh.
You can't trash talk a Philly fan, an Eagles fan, right? So you guys' team sucks, you're gonna lose, and then just like, yeah, probably.
Yeah. But then they win though, so
we win.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. It was a good time. I've never been to a game where they lost.
Well, that's lucky you.
Trying to keep that streak alive.
You should go to every game.
I should go to every game. That would be cool.
Get some good juju.
I've only been to like 4, but I still haven't seen a loss.
Yeah, that's good numbers.
Yeah, I think so. 4 for 4 is pretty good.
Good numbers, man. Got mine to the top of our charts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll always take 4 for 4. Well, let's see. We've been live for about 2 minutes now.
Oh, 2 minutes, that's it?
Yeah, I caught the back half of your ramble there about redundant Oblivion rings and whatnot.
Redundant Oblivion rings, this thick, oh man. I rambled for an hour and 45 minutes last night, so I'll take a minute of mine tonight.
Yeah, that's all right. A good ramble's a good ramble. Let's get into it though, because we have a tendency to ramble.
We do tend to ramble, which is fine. I guess that's the whole point of the podcast. The thing is to ramble, to discuss, talk. But welcome everybody who's joining in now. We skipped ahead for now and didn't want to hear the rambling. To Dadgic, as it says, episode 6, brewing versus playing. That's our main topic today. We were going to talk about some other things, just because we're rambling. It could be easily Dadgic episode 6, rambling this time instead of musings, as was last time. But we do have a main topic, brewing versus playing. This was Scott's idea. He sent me a text saying, I think I like brewing decks and building decks more than actually playing. And then you also sent something along the lines of the fact you don't like politicking in the way that it interacts with the game and with yeah. So.
That's all true. All of that happened. And I still feel that way.
I'm sure you do. I mean, we'll get into it, but it's definitely like an issue. Not an issue, but it's a I can still call it a consideration. How about that? There have been some other kind of crazy happenings since we last did a podcast together. And if you've watched any of my recent Will Eyes, I touch on it just a tad. I have to. It comes up. It comes up. A little touch.
As it should. As it should.
A little bit. Let's go to the next thing right here. What are we talking about? Oh, what about the children? The children.
He wants to talk about the babies.
I put this in here. I wanted to talk about the schmooty booties. I did put what about the schmoots, But I feel like somebody would pronounce it wrong. I think it was something different. Um, so I put children instead. Scott, how is Sloan doing? She's down to bed early today.
She's been going to bed quicker lately. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been nice. And sleeping better. So
good.
things are good. She's a menace, but she's like, she can climb on stuff now, so everything's dangerous.
Mm. Yeah, I was talking to Bridget's one friend. We left the house at the same time. She lives down the street. She's talking about baby proofing, and I was like, "Well, I don't know what else there is to baby proof," And she was like, "The
Dude, I have
toilet," and I was like,
everything.
"That's a good idea, the toilets."
Well, I have to strap like everything to the wall now.
Mm, that's we have some
Like,
of those.
like even like all of the dressers, even the ones in my room, places where she rarely goes, just because she could just like randomly get a hold of it. I gotta tie everything that could crush her
I
to the
know
wall.
that's a problem in my house because a lot of these walls are like plaster,
Well, you
and
just get some drywall screws. I mean, you don't have to like
no,
anchor
it's
it.
not. It's not drywall. It's like limestone. Like I've gotten to a point where like if it's original wall of the house and I try to put a screw in it, like a drill with a screw, it will not go in the wall because it is like made out of limestone.
You're
And
gonna need some specialty equipment.
yeah, if
Yeah.
it's an addition wall, like I can screw into the wall, like the one room we put a bathroom in. That wall is drywall. I think this wall is in front of me. But I remember it did have like one of those like shelving units screwed into it, but I don't think this one. Yeah, I don't know. So it's gonna be tough, and he's
Yeah.
starting to. He wants to. He wants to walk so
Yeah,
bad.
there's a period where they're like,
Mm. Like he'll hold your fingers. It's funny. He'll put your hands like this. I'll just hold on to your fingers, and he'll just go.
yeah,
Maybe I'll go.
Elvis texted me a good tip.
He wants you to do the balls, right?
Yeah, the balls.
Like the ball. He's doing me the same thing. Same thing for me.
It
Like he wants to.
worked.
It works.
Yeah. I mean, they gotta already be like, it like gets them over the hump because there's like a period where they could walk, but they're kind of scared. So you gotta distract them and like instead of grabbing your fingers, they'll have balls in their hand and they'll be distracted and they'll just take off. And that's exactly what Sloan did. She just was like, "Oh shit, I'm walking now."
Well, yeah, he'll just stand by himself if
Yep.
only if he's doing something else.
Yeah.
Either eating something, drinking, holding something, playing. Like he just stood in the kitchen for like 5 minutes, just playing with my keys, but like standing up alone by himself.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah. The balls definitely worked.
yeah. All right, we'll try that. I'll try that. But yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how Elvis is going to handle a second
Second
one.
one.
Jesus.
Everybody tells me two's easier than one.
I don't
Something
see
about,
how.
well, I
Like
mean,
you know what to do.
yeah, you have experience and you already have the equipment, which is like
Right.
a lot of the stress of the first one. Like, what do we need? And then you have to go
Mm-hmm.
get it, or you gotta order it and hope it arrives by the time you need it. And you're always like trying to plan ahead because the next transition is gonna happen and you gotta be prepared. So there's like a lot of
Right.
stresses
Yeah.
that aren't there anymore.
Right. I
Plus,
get
the
that.
older one is becoming more independent quickly. So I don't know. I think there's some logic to it.
But I don't. But you still have to take care of the older one,
Yeah,
right? Like it's still like there's no longer any point where you just put the one to sleep and then you can be free. One of you is always with the other child. I feel
yeah, but
like.
even like now, like I can like mind my own business with my eye on Sloan,
Yeah. Yeah. I can do that
and
too.
she's only 19 months, so it's like if she's like two or like what if Ashley was pregnant now, Sloan would be almost 3 by the time that baby got here.
Right?
Like
That's the crazy. That's
she'd
the
be
weird.
she'd be chilling.
I guess. I mean, I don't know what a 3-year-old is like, I guess.
I mean, I'm sure it's a nightmare. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, it's probably not like, it's a it's a relative thing, right? Like it's easier,
Right.
in the sense that like, maybe it's not as mentally taxing. It still is physically demanding, and you're exhausted and frustrated. But maybe it's not as just like mentally taxing trying to figure it out.
Right. Yeah, you're definitely not. I mean, Bridget, when I was talking to her about it, she was like, she said I definitely missed like a lot of the initial. I couldn't enjoy him as much in those
Yeah,
first few months
yeah,
because
because
I
you're just
was,
worried about everything.
and she feels like if he had the second one, she would be able to do that. She'd be able to enjoy those first few months, right? Because she knows that he's not just gonna pop off, you know.
Yeah, yeah, like you get a better sense of when you actually have to be worried, and
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
I think.
but
I mean, I'm not saying I want to, because
like I
I
don't
need
know. I don't
I
know.
need to
Maybe
sleep a little. I mean, eventually, not today. I don't.
like within the math, right? If you want to do the if you're worried about an age gap, which I'm not sure how important that is, like nine takes 9 months to make it, right? So you gotta do it now, right? If you want to have a 3-year age gap, kind of
Yeah,
thing. It's already got to be in your head that you're doing it, right?
yeah.
I don't know, but it
More
seems
just like I need a couple of weeks where I can like sleep, where I can just like breathe.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
But that's
All
never
right,
gonna happen.
it will. I'm sure it will. Like
Not a chance.
I don't want to jinx it. Like I'm going to, but like he sleeps really well, like really well. Like we put him down around just before 7, and like he'll wake up, and he hasn't for a while. Where it's he didn't just need a binky, just back in his mouth, and need it back out again. And like for the last like 2 3 weeks, he's been sleeping through the whole night.
I can't
Like
get
I'm
I can't get 2 days straight with Sloan sleeping through the night. And I mean, she's making it to like 2 or 3, right? So I can like stay up and play cards or watch a football game, and then get a couple hours, and then put her back to sleep, and then get a couple more hours, and it's okay. Plus, I work from home, so I can just like ship them off and then take a nap. So it's not like crushing to me. But yeah,
yeah,
no, I can't get 2 straight nights. Like
nuts.
last night she slept through the night. The night before she did not, so I'm due for it tonight,
Right. So that's where I'm
probably.
waiting for like when John D's about talking about his kids and how they're like not sleeping at all. Like I'm waiting for that. Like I'm assuming that that's what we're gonna get if he's sleeping well now. He's gonna get turn 3 and suddenly have nightmares and never be able to sleep for like a year and a half kind of thing. Oh, I'm sure I'll get mine. And I'm sure tonight he will wake up 3 times and be unsettled and
Yeah, plus I'm like the problem because I
what do you
just
mean?
don't. I don't have the energy to be like, we kind of gotta force the baby to do a little bit on her own.
Mm,
Like I'm not gonna
you're a
like
big old
just ignore her, but if
you're
she
a big
wakes
old
me up at 2 in the morning yelling "Dada," like I'm in that room in 10 seconds, and we are reading a book. We probably have a snack.
See, we are
Eh,
not. We don't. If he wakes up, it's like I walk in there, I pop Binky in his mouth, I dip right on out.
Oh well, that shit's never worked for Slim.
On.
When she's
So,
awake,
no,
she's fucking awake. She's up, she's standing, she's jumping, yelling "Dad."
oh, absolutely, absolutely not. Like, no, it is bedtime. Like he'll if he doesn't sleep, right? If he's not going back to sleep, I'll pick him up, and if he puts his head on my chest, then I'll know that he wants to go to sleep. So I'll sit with him, I'll rock him, I'll hum to him. But if I sit down, he's going oh,
Yeah, you're
oh.
fucked.
I'm like, okay, no, I back and you just don't want to be sleeping right now, even though it's nighttime. So back into the crib, you're fine. Cry all you want. You just want to stick around. We're going back to bed.
Yeah, I don't
Whenever
have
I
it in
can't
me.
I can't sleep while I hear him. I can't sleep. Um, but it's just like it's bedtime, dude, and you're okay. You're okay. And I was here. I came in. I held you. You just want to be up.
No,
So
I'm there. I'm there. We're chilling until she's
that's
ready to
gonna
go back to bed. And
yeah.
mom's
See,
like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm chilling. Leave me alone.
Bridget's that way too. Like so, Bridget
We're hanging
is
out."
on board with the sleeping thing, but when it comes to like dinner and stuff, I'm like two options. We give him what he wants. If he doesn't want that, then we'll give him something else. If he doesn't want that, then we're done. Right? You got two options. He can plenty of food here. He can eat it. She will just keep like giving him
Yeah,
new.
I make I make
I don't.
one dinner for everybody, and then I just let Ashley drive from there. If she wants to offer him something more or her something different, then I'm for it. But if she
Yeah.
wants to be a hard ass about it, I'm
We
for it too. I don't. Sloan doesn't
yeah
eat
we
anyways. She doesn't give a shit about meals. She's all snacks all the time.
that's funny.
Or
Yeah.
like today she ate like a whole like a 90-second like a Uncle Ben's bag of rice, like instant rice. She ate the whole bag, like a whole adult serving bag of rice. I had pork chops, I had rice, I had like potatoes and peas in like a garlic sauce. And she's
That's
like, fuck all that.
instant rice, please.
All she ate was the whole bag of instant rice.
That's great. That's
I
fantastic.
can't. I can't with that baby.
Yeah, I was saying we buy these like little plate things, whichever we give him what we made ourselves, and we feed him first. So like five, a little bit after five, we feed him. And we play a little bit more, maybe sit down, watch some TV, unwind, relax from the day. Then we do go through the bedtime routine. He's in bed by seven, and then we go back downstairs and eat dinner. So kind of
Oh
what works
wow.
for me. Yeah, like he's asleep. We eat dinner, we watch a movie, we hang out. We tried when he first started eating solids. We tried to do it all at once. It was just way too much. It was like this is not working.
Yeah.
Let's just feed him, and then we can eat later. And then it was much better. So yeah,
See, that's wild. Like, it's
yeah.
like there's like a whole. Every time Ashley comes to me with something she saw on like Instagram,
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm like, fine. Like it's not bad advice. It's nothing
Right,
crazy, but
right.
it
But they
it
don't
like
mesh.
stands to reason that like any advice anybody gives you is almost it's like no better than a coin flip, right? Because the advice is
Hmm.
like you wouldn't want to eat with two people just sitting there like watching you eat, right? So like you want to eat with the baby. You want the baby to eat the food that you're eating so that the
Hmm.
baby feels like comfortable or whatever. And and that works for Sloan. That was good advice because if we just sat there and watched her eat, she would just like sling that shit all over the room.
What are we doing here? Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
but
It's
like
not like yeah.
it doesn't, doesn't work for
You know, like
you.
pizza though, a lot. Like if I make him food, like if I make him breakfast in the morning, I'll pull him up to the stove, not like right up to the stove, but pull him up to the stove, and like I'll show him the egg, show me whisking the egg, and I'll make him breakfast there, and then I'll give him his toast and his egg and his bacon, and I'll make mine, and then I'll pull him over to the table and sit down and we'll eat. Like even for dinner time, like we're not just sitting there watching him. And usually because of our schedules, there's only one of us home at that time. Because I'll get home from the gym at like 5:30 and he's done eating at that point. But like, so we'll be standing up, maybe clean the kitchen, maybe do something while he's eating,
No,
and maybe watch him, maybe make sure he has his water. We'll hang out. But
no, I wish I could get shit done.
yeah,
If I stand up,
good.
she's
Well,
like, "Dad, what are you doing?" And then she's not eating. And then so no, we're there, we're sitting, we're doing fuck all until she's done,
right.
cause I gotta get her to eat.
Does she tell you? Does she do like the all done thing,
Oh yeah,
or
yeah, yeah, we got that one.
he just stops eating and like will start throwing his food and standing up and
Mm.
yeah. Like, okay, you're done. Even we'll do like, you all done? Are you all done? And he just hasn't gotten that
Sloan just
answer.
throws it from the jump. She just starts there. But she like
Yeah,
she
right.
doesn't like just chuck it because she's a monster. She's like throwing it to the dog like on purpose. She's like, "Here, puppy, have some."
Uh, yeah. I think
Like
he's just maybe sometimes he's throwing it to Rutabaga, the cat, but I don't think so. I think he's just like saying he's done, But the
she's
moral of this
tough.
story, people who are watching, is that each his own, right? Whatever
Yeah,
works for your
can't help
family
you at
and
all.
what works. Like I was hanging on to those Instagram things so tight before he was born, and then once he was born, like I realized that none of them. I mean, again, good advice, flip of a coin, but none of
Some
them
of them are
knew
helpful.
shit about what they were talking about with my son, with me and my little schmooty, little potato guy. Because what works for one person does not work for the next. So whatever works for your family, kind of thing. We're gonna have to put a timestamp in here in the description for when we start talking about magic and stop talking about family, just in case somebody wants to skip to it.
Mm,
Uh,
this
but
is good stuff. This is the
it was. I thought it was. Yeah, I liked it. I was good. I was enjoying it.
raising children is.
Uh, Fun.
It's like tough isn't even the right word. Like it's
Yeah.
like at this point now, like I'm 19 months in. What
You
do I
know,
have on? What do I have on you? Like 6 months, 4 months?
but he's 13 months.
I got 6 months on you. Yeah, you're there too.
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Like you're just on cruise control. Like it's a lot of work, but you're mostly just cruising now. You
Yep.
like my
He's got
days
bad
are.
days, good days. He
Yeah,
yells and screams, and it's just upset in the morning sometimes. Other
yeah,
times he's perfectly fine.
yeah.
Yeah. He's cool.
But,
Today I came home and I threw him around and he laughed and giggled and it was great.
yeah. So it's like it's just like work. It's just like just do it. Just like that's really like the only advice I think I could give somebody. I give people that advice. Like just fucking do it. Don't
Yep,
complain.
that's
Don't
good
roll
advice.
your eyes. Don't be frustrated. Just fucking do it.
Roll
It'll
with it,
you
do
know
it, be there.
the baby
If
will
it's a
go to
bad
sleep
day,
eventually, and you can catch your
bad day.
breath.
Yep.
It'll come. You'll be able to catch your breath eventually. Just do it. And then the other thing, the only other thing I tell people is to buy the bottle
The,
dryer.
yeah, the sanitizer and dryer. Yep.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
We use
Because
it.
it
We use it.
saved
Yep. We bought
saved my
that
life. Saved so
all the time.
much
We don't use it as
time.
much. We don't use it as much now, but
Oh my god.
the
I
first
don't know.
year,
Like I don't know
damn,
if it would be as helpful for people that are
it was
like only
it was
using
so
formula. I don't know,
so.
but I
We
had
did it. We
so much shit from Ashley to
40,
clean and
40, 40, not even 45 minutes. 6 bottles were done and ready to go.
oh my god.
Like it was it was
It was
amazing.
worth every penny.
Absolutely. Used it every day.
Oh my god. Oh, all over and over again. Yeah.
Yep. I still will throw like a handful of binkies in there and just run it real quick. But like we don't.
I haven't
Again,
used it in
fill up
months now, but I'm not putting it away. I'm going to put it in a shrine somewhere. I'm going to put it on a pedestal in the corner. Saved my
Richard
whole
Nixon.
life.
Right.
Yeah, put him up there right next to Golos and Mana Crypt.
Speaking of Mana Crypt,
Segway.
great segue. Beautiful. Ah, speaking of Mana Crypt, next the
Oh,
bands.
oh no,
Ah,
what
the
happened?
bands. So Scott, just we don't have to go into a full. What does this mean for the future of Magic? We can go. The next thing is a little bit, and I like the picture. I think is on point for the next one. But we'll talk about it a little bit. But what do you, generally speaking, what do you think of the bands here?
1 second. My. There we
You
go.
hit
We're back. We're back. Sorry, we're still
you
rolling.
laugh.
My computer went. My computer went haywire. What do I think of the bands?
Yeah, what do you think?
I think as far as like whether or not they were correct, like that's not for me to decide, right? I
Yeah,
understand the logic behind banning all three of these cards, and like I can't be like, no, you're wrong. Like these cards are busted. The only problem I have with the ban is that it was so poorly timed.
mm,
Like it was like almost rude, like
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Not
I'm one of those people that like I opened a new sweet mana crypt and then 2 days later it got banned. The only format that I can play it in,
yeah.
just completely out of left field. And like that happens. Like I understand that happens. I've been playing this game for a long time, but like like it just shipped in the product, the special product, the festival in the box. Like I bought it for the collector's packs and like the cool stuff, and like how much more of the cool stuff are you gonna be banning like the next day? Like it can't be the next day. If you're going to suddenly decide that you're gonna take like an aggressive stance, right? Like if you're gonna be like, we're gonna actually, you know, moderate this format, like you gotta tell people that that's coming. Like the other bands are like Primeval Titan and like Coalition Victory and like random shit.
Yeah, not
Hole
even.
Breacher, like just
I
like
understand.
random cards.
Yeah,
Like these are like staple cards. Like Hole Breacher in Primetime would be staples if they were allowed to be played, but like these are like
yeah,
foundational cards. And I specifically, like I don't play CEDH. I don't think, I mean some of my decks are stronger than others, but like I think I use like Mana Crypt. Like I use Mana Crypt so that my like Nazgul deck can be competitive in a world where Jondy's playing Crick, right? Like without Mana Crypt or Jeweled Lotus, like the Nazgul deck is not there. Like it doesn't have the, like it can't ever compete. Like I could show up and I could play and I might make it to turn 6, but I'm never going to win that game because I'll never get on the front foot. I have no way of doing it. The Nazgul aren't strong enough for that world. So
yeah.
like I think
So
a
that,
lot of decks that I build like use those cards to do something cool in a powerful format as opposed to like just doing something completely degenerate, and that's unfortunate.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that was my one of my first thoughts too. Is like, well, now Adeline, because I played. I mean, I had these two cards in my Marlin Elf deck, right? So that was obviously a very good deck. Um, but I the other deck I played him in was Adeline, and I'm like, okay, now I don't have my second, maybe first turn Adeline where I'm going to be able to attack sooner. But
Hmm.
that got me down. But then I thought you brought up Johnny's Crick deck. The old Crick, Johnny doesn't have these cards either, right? Like yes, he's still gonna be able to pay black mana, but he's not getting his ability to get a first turn Crick is now much lower. All the other decks don't have these cards either, which is nice.
Yeah, but
Which is, but
but it hurts.
Crick is still stronger than Nazgul.
It hurts my Nazgul deck more
Hmm.
than it hurts his Crick deck.
Yeah. Does it though? Like even with Adeline, like my like the optimal, like what I was looking at, I was like, this is a good hand for Adeline is a one drop, a two drop, and Adeline on turn three. Like play it on curve. That is still the case here. So
Yeah,
like your
because
Nazgul deck, like
my
it's
if you match them up like card for card, like the Nazgul deck it doesn't it's not as like it's not good enough, right? It's blue and it has black, so I have access to the pieces that I need to stay
mhm,
alive. I can play Damnation. I can play Force of Will. I cannot lose,
right.
but but the path to victory is bad in a strong format. So the only way to win is if I can somehow get out ahead. Like that's it. That's the only, like I'm still going to just be playing Nazgul, but the only
Right.
way where I can actually win a game is if I can play a Nazgul on turn 1.
Right.
And
That was another good point I think you had when we were talking about this earlier. Was that these cards weren't ever a problem, right? You said in a high powered game, everybody's playing these cards. Right? CDH, they're all doing the same
yeah,
thing. They all have these cards. In a low powered game, if you have some of these cards, you're
yeah,
just doing low powered stuff.
faster, yeah.
Like
It's
I was like with, I mean, I'm not gonna undersell Ally, but I'm still just attacking with Adeline. That's still just the plan, right? Even if
yeah,
I get Mana Crypt or Jewel Lotus out first turn.
like especially Dockside in particular. Like
Yeah, yeah.
Dockside's a really good card. Like that's not lost on me, but when it first came out, I can remember our group getting 10 and 12 treasure Docksides, but like over time that number has gone down, right? The decks have gotten more aggressive, so you're trying to play your dockside earlier. It's only generating like 3 or 4 treasures most of the time,
Hmm.
and that's good. But like, it's not
I
broken.
I'm most upset about Dockside. Like that, like, as the time as I got used to this, I realized that Dockside was the most disappointing to me. Because I'm cool. I'm gonna actually play Archaeomancer's map now. Cool. I've wanted to try that card. It's a good card. I'll put another piece of ramp,
Yeah,
add a land. Like it's not a
but
big deal. But
dockside,
Dockside, I had just built a Balin deck
yeah,
and I'm like, I finally have a deck where Dockside is actually like wanted in the deck
yeah,
and fits the mold and the style of the deck. So I picked one up. I got a
yeah,
bunch of for free. There's a bunch of traded value. So I didn't actually pay any of these $70.
yeah,
But I just picked it up and just put it in the deck, and I'm like, and it just felt. And I picked up a tooth and nail with it, and a team of saber tooth, and I'm like, I'm gonna do this
yeah,
because it's gonna win me the game, and it actually goes with the deck, and it's not just a red
yeah,
deck with green, and I'm not gonna play it in a deck that's just because it's good. It actually does what it wants to do. And I was excited for it, and now I can't play it.
yeah. But at least Dockside fits the mold of cards that have been banned.
Yeah, it
Right,
does.
like random strong creatures that you play in every deck that
Hmm.
is in those colors. Like that's Dockside. That's
Hall
Primetime.
Breacher,
That's Hull Breacher.
if you weren't playing wheels, it was still good.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Like it shut
that's
off
the
everybody
kind of
else's.
card that they ban, and I get it. Okay, but something about like Mana Crypt, even though Mana Crypt can be played in more decks and is more, it just felt like a, it just felt like a almost like a pillar, like they talk about like the pillars of legacy or the pillars of vintage specifically. It's a concept there because there's a lot of busted cards in vintage that don't get banned because they're so entrenched in the
Hmm.
format, like Mishra's Workshop, like just taps for 3 colorless mana, and it's not restricted because it's just so entrenched in the format that, like Bazar of Baghdad, like it's just so much a part of vintage that it, even though it probably should be banned because the card's dumber than anything, like they're not going to do it. And that's kind of how I felt Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus were. They feel like Commander, right? Like those are like Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, and Jeweled
World
Lotus. Like,
Lotus less than Mana Crypt though,
you think?
because it's newer. Just because it's been around for what 2 3 years. I don't know when it came out. Um, Probably longer than that. But
Probably,
it's
yeah. Been around a while.
a Mana Crypt, yes. Soul Ring, yes. Like those are cards. Command Tower maybe is another one.
Command
I just
Tower, Lightning Greaves, like these are just
I
like
agree with the one. Yep, that's a solid. We should do what are the pillars of Commander episode.
yeah, probably.
These big four cards. Um,
But
yeah,
like it
but
just it I don't know. Like I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. Like it I know they wrote a bunch of shit, but like I don't believe them. I guess is what it boils down to, right? Like what are they trying to accomplish? Like were there so many people that were going to their LGS and being like, "Oh, you're playing precons? Here's my Mana Crypt." That you have to ban Mana Crypt? Like
right, right.
it doesn't inherently it doesn't create any more unfun experiences than a Soul Ring or like a whole host of other cards.
You go Soul Ring Signet, you're still feeling as crappy as Mana Crypt.
Yeah, and even like less so because like Mana Crypt, Mana Crypt is doing damage. You can like I've killed myself with a Mana Crypt. I've had people turn my artifacts off, and now I'm just sitting there taking
Yeah,
2 damage a turn. Like, and like I don't even play Jewel Lotus in a lot of my decks.
I had one.
Yeah, I just don't play it. It's like not that
I think maybe
great in
that's
a lot
also
of
part
decks.
of the worst about Dockside because I pulled my Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus. I actually went and picked up a Dockside too.
I don't know.
So, but, yeah.
It just
Yeah,
seemed
like
weird.
I'm very much of the mindset where I am not responsible for your fun on the other side of the table, right? But if I
Yeah,
sit down and like one guy's like, I haven't played Magic in 10 years, first I've gotten out of the house to do it. Another guy's like, yeah, I picked up this pre-con I've never played before. Another guy's like, I am playing hats. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna put my Sithis deck away,
Yeah.
and maybe hopefully I brought a weaker deck than Sithis. I probably brought Adeline. I probably pull out Adeline because probably a weaker deck I brought. But I'll pull out one of my not as powerful decks and play that, right? Because I'm not going to again sit down at a table and go Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, Signet, pass, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna do that. But
And it also like sort of like calls back to another problem I have with Commander as a whole, and that like people like nobody is willing to like except for Johnny. Johnny's the only person. Like even me, I'm not. I don't do it. Like nobody's willing to just be like, all right, I'm going to abrade your mana crypt. Like on turn two. Like you
I
just
do
deal
it.
with. I. I mean, I
I'll pull
don't.
up the Soul Ring.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. I'm gonna take. I'm not gonna. You're going to have two mana on turn two, not four. Thank you very much.
Yeah. But like
Like that is a
people,
good play.
like it's not. Yeah. I mean, it's a great play. But for whatever reason, the Commander community is like, it's not fun. It's
Very
boring.
fun.
I think it's fun.
Pulling you back to the start line here.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, yeah. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
no,
And I hate the fact that like they these aren't just like good cards. Like Wizards like pimped these cards to the Commander community. You know what I
right.
mean? Like here's this set and
Mm-hmm.
it's like mediocre Commander set.
But it's
But
cookies.
you can open this dope Jeweled Lotus
Or there's dope mana
or
crypt.
this dope Mana Crypt or this dope Dockside which just happened in the
They
last year or two.
all three of them in the set.
Yeah.
I knew Jewel Lotus and Mana Crypt, but I didn't know all three were. That's upsetting. Yeah, that they could
And
have waited. Like they could have decided this and then waited 3 months and then done it, and the effect would have been the same. They would have been banned. It would have been
the
gone.
effect
It
would
would
have
have
been the same.
months.
But
We would have gotten 3 months to play with their pretty mana crypts, and they would have felt a little bit less bad about it, for
would
sure.
have the timing would have been much better. Plus, you would have had time to be like, "Hey, we are going to start actually moderating Commander."
Do you think that was the plan though? Then, that, like to really get into this, because I mean, the last ban wasn't a few years was a few years ago. Like they might not have been planning to really knuckle down on this. This might have been the one of the one banning that we've had in 3 years, and then 4 more years would have gone by and we had another banning. They might not have. I don't think there's a lot of credence in that argument that they were suddenly becoming so much more active in the format and regulating the format because of these bannings. I just think this was the one that we had, and we
And
were
that's
due for
even
one, right? We
worse.
were due. It's been 3, 4 years. We're due for one.
If they don't plan on taking a more active approach, or if they didn't anyway, then it makes even less sense. Like if you're only banning the worst of the worst, well, like you missed, right? There's way worse cards in Commander to deal with than these three. Like they whiffed. If that's the goal is to just ban the worst card every 4 years, then this isn't it.
I mean, Dockside. You said Dockside matches that like that. I think it was just Dockside. No, would have been no one
Darkseid
would.
fits the bill. Yeah, I'm just saying like when they banned Hullbreacher, like
Yeah,
that card came out. It got banned kind of fast. I think like it was really good,
it was quick.
like too good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like
They
other
treated it.
things like some of like the OG bands, like a Prime Speaker, not Prime Speaker. What's the one that like untaps? It like untaps your lands and permanents on everybody's turn.
Paradox.
No, well,
No, no, no.
Paradox Engine, but there's a creature that does it too.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Wilderness Reclamation ley line of one of the blue ley lines.
yeah.
On the same card. Seed
Like
reviews,
there's
but with the flash stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
and there's so many other cards that are just like when they ban Golos. Like I got Golos. Like that makes sense. I get it. I
yeah.
wasn't happy about it, but I get it.
What's the next thing we got going?
Yeah. Um,
Talk about the decision itself and why they made it.
um, oh, the rules
You
committee.
like my big RC car crushing the
Jesus
little RC
Christ.
car?
Yeah.
Now, according to the statement, there's no big RC car crushing little RC car. It was a mutual RC car battery switch off. Um,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, they sold to Wizards, and they have it now. There's been a bunch of different arguments, right? Of like Wizards is going to unban everything, or they're only going to print stuff. There's been a lot of defense of like the Commander team, Gavin Verhey, and like, oh, we trust Gavin, but Hasbro's going to screw it all up. Well, it's just credence to that. I don't know Gavin. He could be a nice guy. He could be a tool. I don't know. I don't know. Um, so I don't. I can't give any argument to that. I do agree that Wizards, the Hasbro might have a final say in a lot of stuff, and that could screw stuff up. You know, it might be fine for a little bit, but in 5 years, it could be terrible. Um,
I think
yeah,
it's better for like so there's a lot of communities to consider, right? There's players like us. We would be the entrenched players.
yep,
I think this is probably on the whole worse for us, Wizards being in charge. I think they I don't you know, even if I don't agree with the rule committee's decision like on the bannings, right? Can I can accept that their decision was made with the best intentions.
I like that. I like that it was just a bunch of yokels doing it. Right? It wasn't like a huge company. It was just a bunch of these five
Yeah,
yahoos
I can
trying to
I
do
can
their best.
accept that their objective was to make Commander
Yeah,
better,
they weren't making any money off of it either, no matter what
but
their decision. Yeah,
but that's not necessarily true anymore.
correct.
However, I think for non-entrenched players, I think your pre-con players, your your newer players, this is probably
Yeah,
better for because now it might make more sense. Like if Wizards actually puts out guidance on power levels, like that has a certain amount
that's
of
what I'm talking about too.
that has a certain amount of like oomph behind it, right? I think like I don't know about having like a bunch of different lists of cards is easier for newer players, but I think having an official stance from Wizards on power levels has a certain amount of something. I don't have the right word for it, but I think it's helpful for not us. Essentially,
Yeah, I don't like the bracket system. How it was described initially, right?
yeah,
Um, because and again, I bring up Adeline because Adeline is a Adeline is a very strong, well built deck, right? But it's not an eight or a seven. It's not a four in this new system, right? If a four is the top of the line deck, Adeline is not a four, but I'm sure it's going to have cards in it that,
yeah,
according to the system, they say, well, that's a four. Right? It cannot stand up to these super fast, aggressive combo decks. Right? It's not going to. I need to through combat kill three people. You see that coming. That's not a surprise. So that's why I don't like it. And I
yeah.
mean,
I mean, that's
that one podcast, they did address some of the issues. Um, like, what if you print a really good card that's a four in a precon now that a precon's no longer ones? Um, they also get to the point where we talked about this in our power level episode, where like if you put a fierce guardianship in a poorly built deck, slapping a rocket on a biplane. That was the analogy we made, right?
mm-hmm.
Because you have a card that is designated as a four on this bracket system doesn't make the deck a four,
Right.
right?
Yeah. I
But
mean,
according
we
to
can.
the system that they presented, it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No,
again,
I
I
completely
recognize,
agree.
yeah. So it's initial. They're going to work on it, I guess. But like, I just don't like how it's presented right now. Laughing
I
Rock is
get it. I get it. Yeah. I don't. I mean, I don't love it. I mean, it's. I think there's some value to having the list of cards.
Yeah, yeah.
available. So that
There's
like if I say that Ancient Tomb isn't that good, somebody can be like, "Well, Wizards disagrees." And that's fine because they're the authority. I'm not the authority.
right,
Does that make the deck a 4? No, that doesn't have to be true either, but
but it
like
means
it's at least, you have something,
mm-hmm.
especially for the people that aren't us, right? Because
I
they
can
can
honestly
sit down and they're like, okay, I want to keep playing with my friends. We've all been playing Magic for a year. Should I add Ancient Tomb to my deck? Probably not. You know what I
or sure,
mean?
are we all going to add ancient
Are we
tomb?
all
Like,
going to add Ancient Tomb? Like
we
that's
all going
like
to pick one
it
card from the four to put in our
yeah,
deck.
it helps that discussion,
Yeah,
but
a new podcast.
doesn't help doesn't help me
Mm,
specifically.
no,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's
I don't like to make knee jerk reactions, so I don't know. I don't have any
right,
strong opinions about whether this is good or bad.
right.
Um,
Like it'll take some time to figure out to
yeah, it's
see
probably gonna suck at first. A lot of things do.
is
A lot
is
of major
Wizards going to
changes suck at
try?
first.
Yeah, are they going to try to really to enforce a strict list like that? Like, can I not like in an event at a LGS? Can I not sit down? Like, are we going to have these are four bracketed pods, three bracketed pods,
I
two
think you are.
bracketed, and then I can't sit down with Adeline at a three because it has Ancient Tomb, Three Tree City, and Nyxos Shrine of Nyx.
No, I
Right.
think what's gonna happen ultimately is you're gonna end up with cards that are fours, and then you're gonna end up with cards that are like fours with an asterisk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Ancient Tomb's a four, but I don't have a good example off the top
I
of my head of a card that
right.
like if it's in your deck, like yeah, you have to play the higher power pod. That's the deal. Like Ancient Tomb might not be that card, but
Right. But
like
is Vampire Tutor like if we're gonna if there's gonna be a
no.
card, Vampire Tutor would be, but like I
I
run
think
that in.
they showed Vampiric Tutor as a three.
Did they? I
Yeah,
thought it was a four. I don't know. Okay, I like that. That's better because my Urza
I could be
artifact deck
wrong.
is runs Vampire Tutor, but I'm only gonna be looking for. I don't even run the One Ring in my in the artifact deck. It's an Adeline. Um, but like it's that deck's not a four. It's if anything, a low three or a high two based on this system. I feel like right. It's got us a
Yeah.
couple tutors, no fast mana, no combos.
Yeah,
Right. That,
I feel like we're gonna end up in a world where like if your LGS is hosting an event and they want it to not be CEDH, they're gonna be like, listen, this is a two. You can have a couple of threes and a couple of fours.
that can make deck building so annoying. Like
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go to,
but
I'm not gonna go through my deck and take cards out and redefine a whole deck just for that night.
well, but I mean that's only for an event. Like you would prepare for an event. Like it may or may not be like. I don't think this will have much of an effect on like going to play Commander at your LGS. I'm talking about if they want to
Really.
host an event. Like that's not CEDH. If they want to like enforce a structure on a non CEDH commander deck, which is very hard to do as is,
Right. That's one of the things that makes Commander great. Is it's just have at it.
but if they want to do that, this will maybe give them the what they need to say. Okay, this is a two event. This is like a if you win your pod, you get a pack. Like there's no like big prize. Like it's for like just adding a little
Well, like,
competition to it.
like if I go to my Farboroughs or Owl. I mean, Farborough might be a little bit more lenient, but Owl is like if I get maybe I'm not paying to play half the time there anyway. But it's they have it's Commander Day at and six, 2 and 5. You come play Commander for points and stuff. Right now, it's just have at it. We'll assign you pods because you're a name on a list. But I guess this is all doomsaying at this point, right? We don't know if they're going to do that. It's just a
Yeah, I mean, I think it gives you the option. Like, I mean, I know I'm on the EDH like subreddits all the time. Like, there are places that run tournaments that they're trying to enforce like a more, they're trying to They're trying to have a tournament that is Commander that's not CEDH, which is very hard to do as is. And there are people that like to play in that event,
Right. That's fair. That's fair. I
right?
mean,
So what
I feel
you
like
end
it's
up
easier
with like a
to run
super
two
long
shooters.
list of banned cards. You end up with like all this other stuff. But now if we have a list, maybe it'll be easier for them to just say
This is the way.
this is a two event. You can have three threes and two fours. That's it. And then I think ultimately there will be a subset of fours that are just only fours.
Right.
Which I mean, I guess you could call a five, but I don't think they'll go. I don't think. I think it'll be a
Yeah.
small list. It'll be a very small list, or maybe it'll just be like specifics, like demonic consultation by itself is not a four, and
Right.
Thassa's Oracle by itself is not a four. But if they're both in the same deck, that's like an 11.
That's
So
yeah. And then the question is, how many tutors do you have in the deck to find them?
yeah, those would be your threes. So you could, but I think somehow there'll be like your list, and then you'll have a couple asterisks. I don't know. I don't know. I don't play in those events. I just think maybe that might be one upside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't. I
Enough.
mean, I don't get. Like I think if you're having an event, it has to inherently be competitive. The only way to play is competitively. If you're calling it an event,
That's fair.
but I know
I mean,
there's people that
an
aren't like
event,
me.
an event is like Friday Night Magic is an event, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's not an event. It's just a time everybody's gonna go play Magic.
Maybe, but like if you know, if some pro tour player went to your FNM, like nobody's gonna be like, hey, you can't play the best deck in the format,
Ah, sure.
right? Because it's just not how it works. It's a fully competitive event. It's just maybe like a little more laid back.
Yeah.
That doesn't really work in Commander because the difference between a laid back deck and a CEH deck is a lot,
Yeah, it's
a
very
lot.
different.
Like
Very.
you're not randomly beating a CEDH deck the same way like your random trash pile might win a 60 card constructed match.
Right.
So
Right. Enough doomsaying.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Enough
Let's see.
speculation.
Fun stuff now. Fun stuff. Fun stuff.
It,
We got some new decks.
we're not gonna get to the main topic tonight. I don't think.
We're
I think
actually we're okay. We've done worse.
I feel like oh okay let's stay let's stay.
We're at 52 minutes, which is about
See,
halfway. It's about half of what
Maelstrom
we usually
Wanderer.
do.
What are you doing with Maelstrom Wanderer here? Because you're building that, I'm building Marina,
Oh,
but you have to be more put into Maelstrom Wanderer than I am into Marina.
Maelstrom Wanderer is sweet, dude. So if you Maelstrom Wanderer and every other card in your deck has Cascade or Discover, you can guarantee that you're going to hit Food Chain and Squee, which gives you infinite mana,
Mm.
colored mana to cast
So then
creatures. So
keep
then
casting Wanderer.
you can keep casting Maelstrom Wanderer. And if the only other card in your deck that costs less than 8 is Nexus of Fate, well, now you got infinite turns.
Hmm.
That's the whole deck. That's it. The rest of it is just
Infinite
trying to
turn,
like
food,
support that.
land. Cool.
Like you don't get to play, like ramp. Like you don't get to play regular ramp. You don't get to play.
You don't play any of the fun stuff.
You don't get to play any of the usual stuff. I got all sorts of weird shit. I got a Teferi's Isle in here.
I don't know what that is.
Dude, it's a land with phasing that enters tapped and taps for 2 blue. So on turn 1, it does nothing because it enters tapped. On turn 2, it does nothing because it's gone. On turn 3, it taps for 2 blue. On
That's
turn
nice.
4, it does nothing because it's gone. On
God,
turn 5, it taps for 2 blue.
this is a bad deck, Scott.
Dude,
It's
it's
a bad deck.
awesome.
Yeah, it's not my Maelstrom Wanderer deck at all. That's cool.
Dude, it's great. It can win on
That's
turn 2. It can win. It usually wins about turn 4 or 5. Average is 4.5 gold fishing, which is pretty quick.
hmm
I got to take it out last night. It did not win. I went for the
Oh man.
combo. I went for the combo on turn 5. I had the squee in my hand.
Mm,
Well,
gotta
so
put
the
those.
thing about it is, if your deck is full of like Cascade and Discover cards, like you don't actually have to cast the Maelstrom Wander. I just have to Cascade twice. That's it over the
That's true.
course of the game. Um, so I had the squee in my hand. I had a couple of lands out, and I cast like a trumpeting Carnosaur or something. Discover
Yeah.
5.
I use on my list for my Master Mono deck as an option.
So that hit the food chain, and then I would be able to exile the Carnosaur to cast a squee from my hand, and then I'd have the mana. Plus, if the squee got countered or whatever, I had, the Carnosaur would make enough mana to cast the
Maybe
squee
seven,
from
seven,
exile.
that's six, right?
Yeah, 6. So it would make 7 mana off the food chain, which I would be able
So
to
you have
cast the
enough
squee
food.
twice
Yeah,
if I had to. But John decountered the food chain, so
makes
I
sense.
was I wasn't sure I wasn't sure if the deck could play a normal game of Magic.
Mm.
However, it very much can, because if everybody is sitting there waiting for you to try and win on turn 4, then you're just sort of like playing lands, right? So what happened was I tried to combo on turn 5. I untapped on turn 6 and cast Maelstrom Wanderer,
Which is great, which is
which
fantastic too.
which only hits like cascade spells, and most of them are creatures. So I just dumped like 17 power on the board.
Yep, that's how you do it.
Yeah, and attacked, and then I hit Mitch for 17 or something like that. And
John D counters your spell, you hit Mitch.
well, he had a Blood Chief Ascension on 2 counters. So like
Mm.
if I attack somebody else, I just turn on his Blood Chief Ascension. So I had
Yeah.
to attack him. But um, and then it went around, and I think I went to attack Mitch again when it got back around to me, and he cast a Cyclonic Rift,
Which is
which
good
yeah, I
because you
wasn't mad.
cast
I
yeah,
wasn't mad
because you
about
cast
that at
your
all. Thank you for the
yeah, yeah,
Maelstrom Wander.
appreciate
But
it.
after he cast the Rift, played Ugin, because like I have all these like 2 mana lands out. Like I have a bunch of lands that tap for 2 in the deck,
Mhm.
and so I just went like combo, Maelstrom Wanderer, dump 17 hasty power on the board,
Ugh.
Ugin, and I'm just like
This is good.
just
I like
just
this. This is
just launching haymakers.
yeah. That's what I like about Royale Solano. That you play all these like huge, big costed bros, and it's just like this is good. I like this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, we don't have to talk too much about Marina here. It's a Wooburg Enchantress deck. I talked about it a little bit on my actually for a good bit.
On your will I?
I that's what I'm calling my real eyes. You can build this deck with 65 enchantments. Um, I never miss. You can build this deck as a actual functional door deck. Um, I haven't read all the doors. I like a room deck. The rooms, not doors. It even says unlock a door off target room. So, yeah, okay, never mind. They're rooms. Um, if you can find a way to tap and untap her infinitely, you can get those triggers a bunch of times. There's a bunch of rooms. Like the one room searches for a room,
Mm-hmm.
and then
That's in here. Yeah, I have that one.
yeah, and then the other room wins you the game. Um, so you can just tap and untap her a bunch of times, search for all the rooms, play them,
That's
win the game.
also in here.
What in Maelstrom Wanderer?
Yeah, so like I put the deck
Oh,
together.
the rooms are the mana cost like I don't know.
Yeah, it's the
Cool.
total. Yeah, so
Very cool.
like I was putting the deck together, and like I said, you can play it with just the Cascaders and the Nexus of Fate. But I was like, well, what if somebody has like a Glacial Chasm, right?
That's
Like,
exactly what
I
you want.
I I take infinite turns and I can't attack. Or what if somebody responds to my infinite combo with Teferi's Protection? Like, how do I end a game? I have infinite turns. How do I end the game through a Teferi's Protection? Well, now I have to win. So I have gates. I have a Maze's End in here, and I
Mm,
have 4 rooms. Because I was playing the Moldering Gym, because that's a ramp spell that you can play
yep.
in Wanderer. already. So I had that one, and then Glassworks. Glassworks will win through a glacial chasm because it does one damage each turn, so I can just like pass.
Just ping, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, I don't do it.
Yeah. So I already had that one, and then I just added the one that wins.
The one that wins, the one that wins and the one that tutors is the same one.
Right, added that one, and there's a fourth one in there so that I can actually make 8 rooms or
Yeah,
8 doors or whatever.
yeah, which is
I
cool.
have it right here.
Um,
I added a fourth. Carry on. I'll chime back in once I figure out what I did.
and the third way to build a deck is just all of the Enchantress combos, right? Like you make infinite creatures in white, you have damage effects in black, creature ETB damage effects in red, you have haste enablers in red, and green is your ramp, blue is your you have mill effects in blue and counter spells. Like you just play it like that, right?
Oh, it was the green one. Is the green one that lets you play lands from your graveyard?
Ah, that one's good. I talked
Yeah,
about that one.
because if like my food chain dies, there's only one card in the deck that can get it back from the graveyard. There's like a 5 drop with Discover that can return a permanent from your graveyard.
Play the counter spell with Cascade.
Yeah, there's one with Cascade and one with Discover.
Mm.
Playing both. I want to play Decree of Silence too, but I didn't. They didn't have it in stock when I bought the deck. The other cool thing I do is I play an Urborg in my Maelstrom Wanderer deck
Why?
because I also play a bunch of these weird lands. Like it's Hickory. It's a cycle of lands that are called the depletion lands. They come in tapped and they have 2 depletion counters on them. But you tap it, you remove a counter, and you generate 2 mana of that color. So they're like soul lands that you can only use twice. But if I have an Urborg out, then
They're strong.
I can at least tap them for
Yeah.
black, and I don't have to remove a counter. And like I have Yavi Maya too, of course, but Urborg gives me another out.
Yeah, but yeah, Urborg's the more interesting one, right?
Yeah, because it's like off color. Yeah,
Yeah, but you can play it.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, so here's a good segue to our main topic here. Scott, you are building this Maelstrom Wanderer deck that's kind of bad, but
Ouch.
also, well, just, I mean, in the sense that you're going for this hard squee food chain combo that is very interactable, very easy to just say, nope. But it's a Maelstrom Wanderer deck, so it's still very strong. You're still ramping. You still have, at the end of the day, 9 mana to play a bunch of 9 mana stuff, right? You're gonna do Maelstrom Wanderer decks are fun to play.
Hmm.
But you like brewing versus playing, and I think one of you made a really good point here, is that people people who know you
Yeah,
and know and play against you, and I think this might be more prevalent in like our play group versus going to the store because that's the way I experience it anyway. They were waiting for you to, whatever deck you sit down with, people wait for you to combo off.
yeah. They know me.
Like you're gonna sit there and play lands, and you're eventually gonna try to win the game, and you got to
Yes,
wait for that. And so you might hold up a counter spell,
I have
waiting
to
for
play
Scott.
differently.
Oh no, I mean like as an opponent, I hold up a counter spell, waiting for you to go off when I should have countered 2 other players' spells.
Correct.
Right. So
Yeah.
elaborate on that.
Well, it's
Go
like
ahead.
it's tough. I don't like that. I don't like the part about Commander where it's the information you're using to make your decision doesn't come from the game itself, right? Like
Right.
maybe like Maelstrom Wanderer is very obviously doing something dumb, but like I told everybody it was doing something dumb. And Food Chain is a card that you should counter whenever somebody
Yeah.
casts it. So
Yeah.
that's
Food
like
chain.
different.
That's not.
But like when
Yeah.
I'm playing like Grist, which has a lot of combos in it, but like it doesn't show its hand very much. Everybody that I'm playing with knows that something's coming. They don't know
Mhm.
when, but they know it's coming. So Yeah, so somebody else gets to combo off because
They're
everybody
waiting
else
for
is
you.
waiting to counter my thing. So they get to resolve like their first two combo pieces because everybody's holding up their counter spell for my first combo piece.
Hmm.
Right? Because I get all sorts of random shit countered. All sorts of shit.
Just when you play with Mitch, he'll just counter anything.
And like that directly leads to me losing, which is, you can't, that it directly leads to me losing, but it doesn't lead to them winning. You know what I mean? The decision, the
Okay.
heuristic is not, is this the
Yes,
best decision for me? The heuristic is like, is this the worst decision for Scott?
yes. I have been on the receiving end of that plenty of times. Elvis or Dalton when I'm playing against them, and it usually happens after we've been playing a couple games and a few drinks in, but they will go well as long as Jeremy doesn't win, and make
Mm-hmm.
it based on that, right? And that infuriates me.
Yeah,
And I
no, I
understand what you're
agree.
saying. The politics of the game. This is part of Commander, right? It's part of a four
Yeah,
player
nothing to do
kind of
about it.
but the politics of the situation doesn't reflect the ability or strength of the deck and what it can or cannot do at that moment or at all, right? Like it's I won because Jack made a bad decision against Jill, right?
Yeah,
And Steve was able to convince Jill to do this,
yeah,
right? That's why I won or why I lost, right?
yeah,
But it comes down to that sometimes, honestly. But it's just, I see why it's annoying and why you might like brewing over playing
yeah.
because you have some very interesting brews.
I like to brew interesting things. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Play
That's
'em.
really, I
You
like
don't get to
like
play them because people go after you. Yeah.
yeah, like I mean, I get to play them. I just don't get to do it all the time.
So what?
I just don't get to do. I'm complaining about not getting to do like the thing of my deck,
I don't
which
get to
is
win. Yeah, which is whatever. Which is what. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is like a standard complaint of Commander. But I
You
don't
know,
know. I'm not like hurt by it. The part that is frustrating about it is that you know,
it's consistent.
it's not because the, it's not because of like, it's not because of what I'm doing. It's just that me doing anything elicits a certain response
Right.
that somebody else doing the same thing doesn't. Like John D can resolve an Academy Manufactor. Nobody's going to counter John D casting an Academy Manufactor,
He's going to abuse it just as much as anybody else.
but everybody's going to counter my Academy Manufactor, and
Mhm.
they're rightfully
You're gonna,
so. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that like it's hard it's hard to play in that environment because now I have to build my deck to deal with the fact that not only am I going to be targeted, which is
Mhm.
fine. I can build a deck that can handle being targeted. It's the fact that I can't then race everybody else who is
You have to be the second
uninhibited. Like
or something.
Harry specifically takes advantage of this because Harry will sit there and not give a fuck. Like, he's not going to counter my stuff. He's not going to. He's going to let Mitch and Johnny do that shit,
Well,
and then he's just going to win. That's exactly what he did last night. He let it be Mitch
Harry
and
builds,
Johnny's problem, and then he
yeah,
just went off. That's what he did.
Harry builds like objectively they're bad decks, but he's a good deck builder.
Yeah, no,
Right?
they're usually solid. They're fun.
They're good decks, but they're like he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't. He's just gonna like I'm doing my dumb cool thing over
Yeah,
here. Go play with each other, and then I'm
yeah.
gonna come in.
He will just sit there and not get any of his
Like
shit countered
nobody's gonna
because
play
Mitch
them.
and John D are waiting for me to do a thing, and then he'll just win.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's smart, but that's not like it's not. He's not necessary. I don't know how to word it. Like it's a good way to play. He's sort of like metagaming, like a
But
discrete moment.
they know they're gonna go after Scott, so I'm going
Yeah,
to let them.
Yes. Yeah.
which would be stupid not to do if you know it's going
Correct.
to happen. Like yeah, I'm just going to sit here and God's
Yeah.
going to play a role ring, and everyone's going to freak out by it, and I'm going to
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And that's so it's a tough environment. I mean, it obviously doesn't affect me that much because I do still win about half the time,
that too. That's
right?
the
So
other.
like I'm not
It's your
trying to complain, right?
it's your baby,
Like I deserve it, okay?
right?
But the point is not my feelings on like that necessarily. It's that like that's part of why I prefer making the deck than I do like playing it.
Right. You can sit there and go, "Oh, this is cool. This is fun. I like having this out in front of me, and it can do this thing." Then you go sit down at a table with people you know,
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter what that deck can do,
doesn't matter.
right?
Doesn't matter at all.
You're in the same situation.
I could be playing
You're
somebody
in
else's deck.
5
Doesn't fucking
ago.
matter.
Yeah. Which is honestly why, and I get this a lot too. It's people play. I'm playing my enchantments, and he's gonna go off, and they're not wrong. I don't have as much of a win percentage as you do, um, but like yeah, if you let me just play my enchantments, I'm
I'm gonna
gonna
win. I'm just
gonna
gonna
win
win.
this game.
Yeah.
You should probably take out the enchantress that's sitting here. Or Adeline, take removing Adeline is the right decision. Like you should do that.
Yeah.
Um, But it's why I like going to the store, right? Because you don't have
Mm-hmm.
that
You
limitation
get a
at
more.
the store, and it's honestly like you guys have said that I go to pub stomp, and I don't. I play Adeline,
I
and
just
I play
laugh
my
because you
lead
play
deck.
stasis sometimes.
I
That's all.
played Stasis. That was at an event in Jersey. It was a Magic Con. It was a big one. There were a lot of people there. We sat down. Haley and I both said we're playing spicy decks, and they were like, okay. And the opponent played a rule of law effect, so I don't want to hear it. She started it.
Johnny
He
played a
went rule
winter.
of law.
Johnny played a winter orb last night, so he's not any better than you.
Oh, I'm such a good card. I love that card. I want to put my Glunch deck back together and then make it that just a stacks deck, like smokestacks, tangle wire.
Glunch is the fucking worst for this exact topic because anytime you whip that fucking card out, everybody else gets to draw, gets their fucking counters, and I just sit
You
here
don't get anything.
and get nothing.
I would if I give you anything, it'd be a
Not
+1/+1.
not a damn thing.
You can't do shit with that. You're not gonna do anything.
Not a thing
You
ever comes my way.
definitely
It
not gonna
doesn't
do
matter. Doesn't matter what. Mitch is playing 70 counter spells, and you're like, have another one, homie. It's cool.
it.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
hate that. I hate that. I hate that. And I hate like, hey, if you don't attack me, I'll do this. I hate it. Just make your fucking decision. Play the
Right.
game. Use the
Right.
information you have
Right.
and make a
Yeah. Yeah.
decision.
I use it. I do it sometimes, like at the store. Like I know one time I won the game. I was playing Adeline, and he was like, "Is that coming after me?" And I was like, "It doesn't have to. Like, it doesn't have to, really." And it didn't, and he didn't remove it, and that was great. Um, but
It's
yeah,
never.
that's again that comes down to like those that little bit of politicking, right, in the game. Like, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with the deck, the cards you put playing.
I hate it. I hate that part of it. I mean, I know it. There's nothing you can do. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. I'm just saying
Right.
I don't like it. I try not to participate. I don't really think I ever. I know I
Yeah,
did last night. I told John D I would not downtick my Ugin if he tapped his fucking winter orb.
mm. But
He's
that's. I
he
mean, you're
said
just trying to get around a winter orb at that point. You're gonna
he
do anything
said
you can.
he said no. um, so it didn't work anyway. But even
Probably the
like
right.
even when people are like asking me
That's
stuff,
funny.
I'm just like no, no, just
It didn't
look
work.
at the board and make a decision. That's what
That's
I do. Like I hate that one specifically. Like, are you going to attack me? Like if you're worried about them attacking you, then you have to leave back blockers. That's how the game works. That's how Magic works. You don't just get to be like to beg everybody not to attack you and then do whatever the fuck you want. Like the game is not built for that sort of nonsense.
Right, right, right.
Right? If you're afraid of being attacked, you leave back blockers or you
I
leave up
know.
mana. That's what you
Right,
do. That's how
right.
it works.
Don't remove my Adeline. Don't remove my Marwyn, right? No, that's why I play all these protective spells in the deck.
Hmm.
Okay, so I can keep
And
from
then
that
there's
happening.
that too. There's that too. The emotional aspect of it. Like I killed your Adeline, so you're just like,
Now I'm coming after you.
yeah, you're not making an optimal decision. You're just trying to be a dick.
Right.
It
Yeah,
happens.
yeah. I mean, that's part of it.
That's part of the game.
Yeah.
But it's
Remember,
it, and I
remember that
don't. I
game?
mean, people make suboptimal decisions all the time, and I'm not saying I make the correct decision all the time too. It's more like the reasoning is just like annoying. Like I killed your creature because I felt like it was the right decision, and
It
you
was, yeah.
killed mine because your feelings were hurt.
Right.
That's
Well, it's
there's a
like earlier we were talking
difference.
about how Mitch countered your no, John D countered your food chain, but then you attacked Mitch because it was the better play, right? You didn't
Yeah,
like the
he
fact
had the
that John
blood
D
chief
ruined
ascension.
the plan. You
Yeah,
stopped you from winning,
right. But
affect your decision.
no, that's how it should always be. That's how I want it to be. That's probably how it is.
No,
Like,
I
but
want
I'm a more competitive person. Like I play to win.
right.
Like I'm not
Winning's
like
fine. Yeah, winning's fine.
I'm here to fucking win. Sorry.
I like to win, but with enchantments.
Yeah, I'm here to win.
It's a good feeling.
I
And even though
I
with add-on, it just feels
I
so
don't
good. I
I don't
somebody like
understand. I can't even begin to understand when people are like, "Oh, it's not about winning." I'm like, "It's not about winning. It's about having a good
but
time." But like, I'm trying to win. I hope you're
but like
trying to win
yeah,
too, because we're gonna have a better game if all four of us are trying to win.
right.
If we're all
I
just
agree.
trying to sit here with our thumbs up our asses, then okay,
Let's play
yeah, you play,
Animal Crossing at
yeah,
that point. Right?
go fish. I don't know.
Go fish. Somebody wins and go fish.
Yeah, but then you can't really be like cutthroat at go fish unless you're like lying, which is just cheating.
Only if you get caught, Scott.
Yeah, so I don't know. I
You're
don't
gone cards, so you
I
can't be
don't
caught.
feel bad about playing to win, but
No, neither do I.
that's part of why, like, because I want to win is why the other stuff frustrates me
Mm-hmm.
because it leads to me losing, which is bad.
Which again doesn't have anything to do with the deck you built or your play.
Yeah,
But I mean, at that point, right, there's an argument that had to be like, well, then you're handicapping yourself by not engaging in it, at least occasionally, right?
I'm definitely handicapping myself by not engaging in it, but that's just a choice.
I can't engage in it anymore. People just tell me to fuck off.
Yeah,
Our play group does.
like I can't even like play it. Like Johnny does the stats right. It says I have a 50% win rate, which
Hmm.
is why this happens.
People know that.
People know
They
that.
know that.
That's why it
Yeah.
happens. I get it. But I can't even, at this point, I can't even play. I couldn't even show up with a precon. Nobody, first off, nobody would believe me unless I
I would
literally,
believe. I keep
unless
an
I,
eye on you, but
unless
I
I took
believe.
it out of the box on camera. Nobody would believe me.
And even then, you probably switched it out
Yeah,
off camera.
and, and yeah, so like I can't even play like you could say like I win more than I should, so my decks are too strong. But I don't even think I could power my decks down. I don't think that would. I don't think that would solve the
I
problem that we're discussing right now.
right. No. That would take you playing a pre-con the next 200 games,
Yeah,
right? And Scott just plays pre-cons. That they get that kind of
there
reputation,
we go.
right?
I got to be the pre-con guy for a while.
He just brings pre-cons. I got plenty. I have plenty of pre-cons. If you want to lost pre-cons. Um, but I do think we were saying like you have a high win percentage. So you're playing a low-powered deck. No one in our playgroup has like bad plays bad decks. But B, I do feel like when you're in a pod, I cannot play. I shouldn't play my Maelstrom Wanderer deck. I shouldn't play my Urza Artifact deck. I shouldn't play Aragon. I should play at the bottom of the barrel Adeline, because it's that's fun to play. I like playing Adeline, but like I should have combos in the decks and tutors to win against you, right? So those are my enchantment decks that I should play with. I can't play my Wild Seer deck against you because I don't have combos in that deck. Tracks I could play because again it's got Winter Orb. It's a good deck. Like I can't play my lower powered deck, my more casual decks when you're at the table, just because you build good decks that will combo off out of nowhere if allowed to. And all my other decks, my lower casual level decks, will allow you to do that because I'm playing maybe four counter spells, two tutors that I'm going to go get an illustrious Wanderglyph to make artifact creature tokens. I'm not tutoring for anything to win the game, which is what I need to be doing against you. I'm not countering all of your stuff for the sake of it, but like you said, your Nazgul deck is your most casual deck, right? Like that
Was, yeah.
was like if you show up and tell me there are three tutors in this deck and no combos, okay, cool. Then
But
I'll pull out one of my casual decks, but you don't play those, right? You don't
I
like to play them. It's not
I
interesting to you.
don't play. It's not that they're not
It's not a mood.
interesting.
That's a pile of cards. You want to build a Maelstrom Wanderer deck that gets you infinite turns and cascades into Squee and Food Chain on turn four, just because that's fun. That's cool.
It's
That's
cool.
interesting, right? Like, and that's fun. That's good. That's good. You don't brew piles of cards. You brew these. Like the one I remember we were at your house the one day years ago, and you handed me a deck, and you were like, "I'll give you $10 if you can pick out the combo pieces in the deck." And I was like, "I have no idea. I don't know what this deck does." Like that's what you like to do, and that's great.
Is what I
That's
like
fun.
to do.
But like, I need to bring a deck that can combo off and win at that rate as well, right? I can win out of nowhere. That I can see you have a combo piece, and then I can drop mine and go and finish the game. Right?
Maybe. Maybe I hear you. Maybe I don't. See, I'm still of the opinion that, on the whole, people don't play enough interaction. Because some of my decks are hard to interact with. Like Grist was built to be a very good deck.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So your counter spells and your interaction are only going to slow him down. Uh, but like stuff like Rocco. Rocco wins a lot, but that deck is squishy. But people don't have the right tools.
I mean, I think with Rocco, I mean, you can run 10 pieces of interaction, and that's enough. Like that's what you should more than that, and right, you got 10 pieces of ramp, you got draw, you got your actual game plan, and then you got your 10, 12 pieces of removal. With Rocco, I need to have the right piece of removal in my hand for when you play Rocco, and that's
But that's the thing, somebody does.
but
You
now
don't.
not they don't because maybe you because you're playing as the second fastest deck at the table, maybe somebody used their naturalize already, so they can't blow up your food chain. Maybe somebody countered a spell already, my Adeline, so they can't counter Rocco. Maybe they already used their one or two pieces of removal they already had, and the other eight are sitting at the bottom of the deck. I mean, I agree with you. People should run interaction. They need to. It's part of the game. You need to run interaction. I'm just saying why Rocco wins so much. And you are a good pilot of Rocco. You can you gauge when to play Rocco, right? Like you're not just gonna run Rocco out as fast as you can because somebody's gonna have an interaction. You're gonna sit there and go, you played a Swords to Plowshares, you played a Mana Drain, and you are tapped out. Okay, I have the best, and I have a Snail of Summer in my hand, right? I'm going to go for it now.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
fair.
that's also, but it's not just interaction. I think it's just it's a hard deck to interact with because you need to do it then, right? You can't wait for it to resolve and then interact. Like, okay, I need to. I don't on my turn. I'm going to untap and remove this creature. That's not how that works, right? You'll win. You'll
Yeah,
win right
yeah, no, no, that's what you're saying is right. But
there. Right.
here's the thing: the decks that I play are super duper soft to things that people don't like to play. Right?
Why?
Like Grist has like 25 lands. 25 lands.
So I should
A,
play what?
a single Stone Rain, I'm dead in the water. Completely
Hmm.
dead. But people don't play land destruction.
I need to pick up some strip mines.
Just to strip mine a wasteland, I'm screwed. I'm fucked. Even a Ghost Quarter.
What?
Even
Dude,
even a
oh,
Ghost Quarter. I think there's only like one basic in that deck. Most of my decks don't have a lot of
or
basics.
Ghost Quarter. I've been trying to rack my head on ways to get rid of a Graceful Chasm in Adeline because that was a tough game.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
strip mine, Ghost Quarter, that'll do it.
Or like I mean, like you said earlier, like rule of law. Like people are like, boo, rule of law. Rule of law screws all of my decks. Every single one. I can't
I don't
play
like
through a
Rule of
rule of
Law.
law.
I like playing two spells in a turn. Like I don't want to. I'm fine with somebody. Half my decks, I'm fine if somebody plays Rule of
Yeah.
Law.
You
I
know,
don't myself.
I'm I'm completely screwed all the time, and that's part of why I win. At least,
Mm.
plus I have really nailed the whole being the second fastest deck at the table is.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
People have already used their removal at the time, and you're sitting there pretty. Except for Harry. Harry's just sitting there dicking around, not doing shit, and then you're gonna try to do something. He's gonna have a seven costed counter spell because he has seven mana untapped, because he didn't do anything all game. And stop you, and then he's gonna win on his turn because now he has eight mana, and
plus
you know,
I also play really convoluted combos.
yeah. See what piece? I mean, once we figured out what pieces can be
Where do you interact?
right, right, but you
Graveyard
do.
Hate. Graveyard Hate screws most of my decks. Rest in peace.
I always
It's
try to play
over.
one piece of graveyard hate in all my decks. I try to.
It's over. It's over once I see it. Rest in peace for most of my decks. I don't think Maelstrom Wanderer is affected by Rest in Peace. Actually, I'm not sure how that works. Do I get to decide? I get to decide which replacement effect happens, right?
But when you
Like Nexus of Fate.
well, what does it do? Is it when it resolves, you shuffle it in, or when it goes to the graveyard, you shuffle it in?
I think it's like if it would go to the graveyard, shuffle it instead.
Oh, in that case, it never hits the graveyard. It doesn't. It never would go to the graveyard.
Right, but Rest in Peace says the same thing.
Hmm.
If it would
Oh,
go to
right.
the
If it would go to the graveyard, it goes to exile instead.
yeah,
I don't know.
I
That's a
forget.
question I would ask you.
I forget.
That's a question I would ask you, Scott.
But like blood, well, I mean, I would just look it up, but I don't feel like it right now.
What
like
would
like
do it?
Mitch played a turn one Blood Chief Ascension in their game yesterday, and I was like, that's a problem. That's trouble.
What does that do again? I know it gets counted. It turns on. Is it start blowing up
Every
Blood
time
Chief?
a card goes into a graveyard, that person loses two life, and Mitch gains two life.
Ah.
And I wasn't sure at the time how that interacts with Nexus of Fate. I'm still not, because I just asked the same question about.
I don't think it would because it said if it would go into the graveyard, shuffle it instead. So it's not hitting the graveyard.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I would have landed, but instead I just got rid of the Blood Chief's Ascension. But like shit like that,
Right.
random
But the
cards
rest
always
is
get me.
yeah. How much is strip mine nowadays?
It was like 10, but I think it got reprinted maybe like
No, no,
six.
it was I want like years ago. It was like
I mean,
$30,
it used
$40.
to be expensive. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember looking it up. Come on, thank you. And it wasn't like overly expensive. Not still not enough for me to like pick it up, but $8,
Mm.
13, 12 for a pretty one, 27 for a less pretty one, but it's from the vault, 29 for about as pretty one. What's that? It's a really,
What's
yeah,
what's
it's
the
the
what's the old one go for?
8.
Nice.
The old one's the cheapest one.
Perfect.
Yeah. Hmm. I'll pick up a few of these next time I go buy some cards.
Yeah,
Just to get rid of those tricky dicky lands.
that's the thing.
Taps for mana, right? Add one
Hmm.
color, mana pool, tap, sacrifice. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the old one's fourth edition is 836. And then if I wanted to get, oh, now that says 27. No, yeah, I could pay $12 for a Zendikar Rising Expedition. $30 for a Zendikar Expedition Mythic as well. But yeah, it's $8. 836. Market price 17. Hold on. I just clicked on it. It's 27. I can get a damaged one, heavily played. Okay, but I can get heavily played and damaged ones for like 9, $10. Cool.
But to circle back off of me winning and why I win, I prefer the puzzle of it
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to playing, to designing so like when I built
It's
Rocco,
hard to build a puzzle with three other people
well, well yeah, when I
when
built
you know where all the
Rocco,
pieces go. Yeah.
especially the pauper version of Rocco, pauper EDH version, it was like I looked at the Seeker Scrounger combo. It was like, okay, so I can mill my whole deck. I can loot through my entire deck, but I'm not in
How do I?
below. I'm not in black. How do I win? Right? It wasn't
Right.
clear. Like there was no obvious line of victory. There was a puzzle to solve. It
Mm-hmm.
was like, can I do it with few enough pieces that I can make a coherent deck around it?
Mm-hmm.
Yada yada yada. All that good stuff.
Can I
Um,
win with this somehow?
and
Like that's yeah.
similarly with
Mm-hmm.
with Maelstrom Wanderer, it was like I was like, okay, I was just sitting here. It was like right here at this desk. I had like Grist, and I had
Oh,
Radadravik, and just cards in front
same
of
thing.
me.
Oh,
And I opened a Maelstrom Wanderer in my festival pack, the nice, the cool one,
mhm.
the full art foil,
The
whatever.
original art better for sure.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
mean, I'm not saying I like this art better. It's just like I was like, oh, that's. And it was sitting on top of the pile, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I read it. And it's not like it's a new card, but I was like,
How do I?
there's got to be a
How do I
combo,
win with
right?
this?
How do I
Right.
win with this? Like this, like cast two free spells.
Mm-hmm.
There's a two card combo somewhere, and then it became like so. I started with like Kiki Jiki and an untapper,
Right.
like a Splinter Twin style combo, and it's like okay, well that's cool, that works, but
Right.
now I
I can
can't
get
play
there. Right.
anything. I can't play any cards less than 5 mana. Otherwise, I won't always hit Kiki Jiki.
Right.
Right. So now I'm like, all right, I want to guarantee the combo. I want to make sure if I cast Maelstrom Wonder, I'm going to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
But then I ran into like I can't build a coherent deck with only like 5 to 8 drops. Like it doesn't. It's not gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, I found there's a couple combos in like the fours and threes, and I already had Food Chain out here, I was staring right at it because Rocco was on the table too. It's like, oh,
Great.
that's two threes. That's pretty good. And I'm still like, I haven't found it yet. The two, because there's a bunch of 3 drop cascade spells, especially like instants that I want to get in the deck, but I can't unless I can find a 2 card, 2 cost combo. But the other side of that coin was Food Chain ended up being super cool as a combo piece because if I play like a creature, like a Bloodbraid Elf, and I
Yeah.
cascade into Food Chain, I can then sack that. Like if I do that on turn, let's just say turn 4, I spend all my mana, play Bloodbraid Elf, cascade
Mm-hmm.
into Food Chain. I can exile that Bloodbraid Elf, play a 5 drop cascade creature from my hand, and now I've got the whole combo. So I can do it all in one turn.
Keep
Where
going and sacrifice a bigger creature then for the more mana and keep
yeah,
doing it.
Whereas if I find a two cost combo, I'll probably have to do it over two turns anyway.
Mm.
So it might not even be better.
Might be
But
worth it.
that's the puzzle, right? Because now about like if I cast a Cascade creature, if I cast a Bloodbraid Elf on turn four, I have about a 50% chance in that moment of just winning the game. Because if I hit Food Chain, all I need is another Cascade card in my hand.
Yeah,
That's it.
here it is.
But if I hit Squee, then I gotta wait till the next turn. So that's the 50-50 of it all.
That's pretty good though.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, and that's that puzzle. And like,
No, and you'll play the deck until you win a couple times, and like, okay, this is winning, this is working, and then you'll take it apart and build something else.
play a new one.
Yeah.
Find a new fun combo. I like
Yeah.
it's the puzzle. It's like I like when you like ask a question. You're like, all right, how do you get from point A to point B? And that's why all my decks are completely degenerate because like I'm never like, oh, I'm going to be doing attacking. No, there's no puzzle there really.
Right. Right.
You
I
know.
like decks that just like fall together and fall in place. Like if I don't look at a deck and like I mean sometimes when I look at a deck like I played Go Shintai, I was like, okay, that's boring because I know what I'm gonna I know how the deck goes. But like when I read Narcy, I was like, oh, this says whenever you sacrifice an enchantment, draw a card. Perfect. I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly the deck I want to build with this. Here it is. Like I don't want to ask myself the question. I want to already know what I want to do
Hmm.
with it. You know, like
Oh
I
yeah.
know I can make this good. I know this is gonna like what's gonna happen. So plenty of enchantments that sacrifice themselves. It's a couple enchantment sack outlets. I've already been thinking about this Oblivion Ring Sun Titan combo. This is perfect.
I like to start with the question. Like I've been wanting to play Artificer's Intuition for so long.
Hmm.
And I was like, how? Like every time I like would start building a deck, I'd be like, this is dumb. Because the hardest part is like you can't build a commander deck around Artificer's Intuition because like you gotta find it first, and it makes everything super clunky if it's like too vital to the deck, right? So then I was like, I don't know why. I was just like, I really want to do this. I'm gonna build an Artificer's Intuition deck, and then I was like, all right. So obviously Zur has to be my commander. It's like, all right, so now we got something. Now we got something. So we got Zur. We're gonna play Zur. We're gonna attack. We're gonna get Artificer's Intuition.
Now
But
what?
now what? Now what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Well, we can attack with Zur, and we can get Marode Besieged, which wins the game if I have 15 artifacts in my graveyard,
Mm.
and I have Artificer's Intuition, so I can just start dumping mana. So I ended up with a deck that had 40 random 0 and 1 cost artifacts. Just random. Just I don't
Yeah.
know. I just went through my box and was like, "Well, this costs one. It's in the deck.
You haven't
Artifact
played
lands, huh?"
you haven't played Zer yet.
I played it. I got my win with Zero.
Okay. I don't know.
I got my one win and I was done with it. It was kind of dumb, but it was like that's sort of it was more fun to build than it was to play. Right when I got to playing it, it just was like sort of silly. It was like because the right move was to like probably just get solitary confinement because I was playing Zur, right?
Hmm. That's boring. That's no
That's
fun.
boring. But when I was building it, I was like, how do I make an Artificer's Intuition deck? It's like, okay, well, these all come together, and I ended up with a deck that I had a Zur deck that ran 40 random artifacts, right? That doesn't make sense. That's
Yeah,
goofy, right?
which
That's super goofy. Um,
which is neat though.
yeah, yeah. That's the part that I like, and that's also why I get like halfway through a deck and then I get distracted.
Right. Because the answer's not there yet. You haven't figured it out, so you leave and you
Yeah,
move on. And you can do that sometimes and come back, right?
like
Yeah.
there's the one card from Bloomborough that like if you cast a spell, you make somebody else draw, but you get to put a +1/+1 counter on it on
Oh,
something.
Bumble Bite.
Yeah,
Okay. And
Bumble
Bumble
Flower or something like that. Yeah,
Flower, yeah.
Yeah. So with Evolution Witness and two zero
Mhm.
cost
Yeah,
artifacts that you can sacrifice, you can make everybody else not mill out. You can make them draw their entire deck.
right.
Put everybody's entire deck in their hand and have a
And then
giant
that.
evolution witness. And then no, I just make them draw from an empty library. That
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah. And
ends
then
the game
you
right
actually
there.
win at that point. That is actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like dumb, but I keep coming back to it. Like, how do I build this deck? This is
Drinking
goofy. I
skills,
love
like
it. I love
regular,
it
yeah, like
because
around.
anybody can mill everybody out. That's not hard. How do you make everybody draw their entire deck?
Right. And
It's a
Scott, I
little
mean,
harder.
Scott, I forbid you sit down at a table with us with a group hug commander.
You don't trust it.
People, absolutely not. I never trusted a commander. Like, no,
No,
absolutely not. That's the scary deck.
you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Yeah. So, all right.
Yeah.
I think
What
I
about
think that.
you? What about you? I just talked to. I mean,
Me.
you did a little bit in there. You
I
came
mean,
in there.
yeah, I enjoy play. I enjoy playing. I enjoy winning. I enjoy building and curating my decks. It's why I hate sealed and draft
Mm,
because I don't get to pick the cards. I don't get to carefully select this one and then this one and then not that one. I have these 10 cards that I just picked and I'm like, I don't want to play any of these, and now I have to for the next 3 hours. Um, I like to build my decks like my Narcy deck and like this is what I want to do. And then I enjoy sitting down playing and doing it. Right? I enjoy playing the deck. I enjoy again at the shop more than in the group, just because they don't nobody targets me in the shop. Right?
right.
They will actually say, "Oh, that's a threat card. I'm going to get rid of that." Um, instead of, "Oh, that's Jeremy. I want to get rid of Jeremy." You know. But even when we in the group, like I enjoy winning and playing with the cards that I chose, and even if I like don't win, but the deck did the thing that I wanted it to do, I'm happy with it. Right? It's fun to just it is fun to just play, right? And yeah, I'm trying to win. If I'm sitting there and I have combos in hand, I'm playing them and I'm gonna win. I'm gonna try to win, right? But
Good.
like I mean, again, playing Adeline and winning because it's such an winning with Adeline is so earned. Like everybody sees it. Everybody knows what's coming. Every like the answer is clear on how you stop this. Like that turn where it's going around, and I'm just like, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win next turn. I'm gonna win. Like it's just, it just builds up in me so hard, and then I finally like I swing out, I win, and I go to bed with just this.
Feels nice.
Feels good. And then it's just like it's mono white, and you guys had so many chances, so much like you guys had like 3 turns to put a stop to this, and you didn't. Well, I you tried, and I got around it because I can play cool cards. Um, in the game I played at the shop with Adeline the other night, uh, I had my Galadriel's dismissal,
Hmm.
and he had a glacial chasm, and I'm like, you are at 4. I'm going to try to like, just, oh my god, it was so close. And I was sitting there with my gradual dismissal, and I put it in the deck because it can either protect my board, protect my Adeline, or remove one person's all of their creatures, and I can swing in and kill them. I did not think about using it to negate somebody's attack after they decided to sacrifice their glacial chasm by exiling all of their creatures until the next turn, and then swinging in and winning the game.
Mm.
Right? I did not think about using it offensively and
Offensively
defensively
and
at the same time like that, and it felt so good. Like, and I that was a choice that I made. That was like Adeline is very. It's a simple deck. Doesn't require a lot of thinking, a lot of math, um,
right.
but not very convoluted. You know what you're doing, and I like playing and winning with it. It feels good. Like if I play Adeline and gets countered, and I play Adeline and gets removed, like that's no fun. Um, if I'm playing Adeline and I'm swinging and my guys are getting big and somebody board wipes and I can't save them and I build back up and then they get and I lose that game, I'm okay with it. So I think it's I'm like 50-50 brewing versus playing, I think.
Yeah.
Um, I love brewing the decks and building the decks. I have built decks where it's like I don't want to play this now. Like the building part was the fun bit, and then I just took the deck apart, right? And it's like, okay, that was cool. I built it. I know kind of what it will do. It's not going to do it very well. I don't ever actually want to play this deck, and I want to take it apart. So I mean, brewing is a lot of fun. It is so much fun. There's like a week will go by, and I'm like, I'm not building any decks right now. And then suddenly, like, my cart on TCG Play will fill up with cards that like
Yeah, just
I
11 of
could
them
slot
just.
into my other decks. It's why I have the Will I series. That's all just brewing. Like, hey, here's a card. Will it fit? Will I can I brew in? I'm like, it's not really brewing. It's just modifying a deck, but it's looking at the deck in total and how does this card fit in that deck in total. So it's brewing in that sense. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I love building. I love thinking about how my decks work mechanically, what the sequencing of cards is. Um, like for again, I have Narcy sitting in front of me just for aesthetics.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to put in Nowhere to Run in Narcy. And I'm like, where do I put this card? The only card I could think to take out was Rancor. And Rancor is such a good card in the deck because I can sacrifice it as an enchantment, it goes back to my hand. And I replay it for one, and I sacrifice it, replay it for one. And so for one mana, I can keep sacrificing it and playing it and getting draw effects, creature effects, payoff effects. It's really good. It's not like it only combos if I get infinite mana. But so I was looking at like the two cards separately. What do they do alone? And Nowhere to Run was so much better. It doesn't need any other cards around it to be good.
Yeah.
Rancor in the deck does. And I can still sacrifice Nowhere to Run to get effects in Narcy in the deck. And then I have recursion effects to bring it back. So I can still do that.
Yeah.
But it on its own is it's good. So that was like that brewing there, that comparison of cards in context of the rest of the deck was just like fun.
My
And
favorite
it's
thing
great when
is.
like when Bridget or somebody who doesn't know how to play like ask like, what are you thinking about? And I go through that entire thought process with them, and it's just like I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, I know. So
Yeah.
I always just say like, I'm trying to figure out if this card is better than this card.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite thing is when like you find that weird card that is just so perfect.
Mm-hmm. It
Like
just was.
like in Maelstrom Water, like it tickles me that I have an Urborg in here.
Yeah, but it works in the deck.
Or in the Seeker Scrounger combo, like how many different things shenanigans does.
But it was never
Like
meant to do any of them.
wasn't meant to do any of that stuff. It's like a recursive artifact destruction, and nobody plays it because it's like pretty mid.
Yeah.
But in Rocco decks, like
Mm-hmm.
it keeps you from fizzling. Like it operates as like a means to not fizzle. It's also a combo piece that combos with like Fuming Effigy and Sir Conrad, and it just like
No,
it
no
ties the
water
whole
go
ties
deck.
the whole room together.
Yeah,
And it's just such a weird card. Like you'd never be like shenanigans. And when
yeah.
I was looking through cards,
You would
because
slide
I was building the deck and I was like, well, what happens if Kozilek is the last card in the deck? Then I fizzle with just a Kozilek left. I have nothing to show for all of this work I've just done. And that would be a terrible feeling. I cannot have that. And what do?
make it a
And
shanty.
oh, I don't even have the Kozilek. I just have an empty library. Like if Kozilek is the last card in the deck, I just lose. Like I just have an empty library and a Kozilek in hand. Actually, it's worse. And I was like, fuck, this is unacceptable. And I'm just looking through cards and I saw shenanigans. It's like, are you kidding me? This dumb card. This is the card. This is the card that's gonna save everything. And then after that, I was like, oh my god, this is just like this is the combo piece right here. This is just it. I don't have to do any other work. I just loop shenanigans.
In a much more obvious way, Rumor Gatherer was a card for me Um, oh, is she awake?
Hold that thought. I have to get the dog. I gotta get the dog water.
Uh, pause it. There's editing. We can take this out, I think. We almost wrapped up here. Almost wrapped up here. Gonna have to edit it out on my phone. Nobody wants to see that. Checking my bank accounts, making sure my finances are in order. Good habit to do. Should check, at least every like 2 days, every couple days. But at the very least, you need to check them once a week. Right? That's just good advice. Flip on, make sure you whatever credit card you're using, you're paying off those balances every week. You got the money in the bank. Do some math, see what bills you got coming due before your next paycheck, and yeah.
All right, I'm back
Um,
to wrap this baby up.
Boomer Gatherer was for me. Much more obvious, mono white, right? But it was just like with Adeline, I get to look at 3 cards with Rumor Gatherer. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly 4 cards with Rumor Gatherer. And I'm just like, nobody's talking about this card. Why is nobody talking about Rumor Gatherer? It's so good. It's like an uncommon. It's 20 cents. Like nobody's talking about it because I was the only one that cared. And I was the only one where I'm like, it's so good in Adeline. People should play
Mm-hmm.
it. Like people are talking about right now, Welcoming Vampire, talking about Enduring Innocence. Where's the discussion of Rumor Gatherer? Such a good card in a mono white deck. Oh my god. Not as convoluted as Shenanigans, but it was that was I have feeling right now when I saw this card. I was like, immediately that's going into my deck. No question. All right. Well, Scott took care of the dog. Took care of the dog. It's not going to be a problem anymore. Um, that's it.
I
No.
mean,
No,
yeah.
it's he's fine. The dog's fine. But I think we're wrapped up here. I think we talked about brewing versus playing, and why maybe we like brewing versus playing. Um, what do you guys think? Do you like brewing? What do you like about brewing over playing, and vice versa? What do you like about playing? Do you like just pick up a precon and pick up somebody else's deck, not brew, not build a deck, not deck build at all, and just play the game? Let us know in the comments if you enjoyed listening. Like and subscribe. Do those things. Um, yeah, but this has been Dadgic. We have been Dadgic.
We made it the whole way through.
Mostly. We got to
One,
cut like a couple seconds out. I stopped
one
talking about
shot,
finals.
one shot at it. Yeah, just 1 minute there for the dog.
Yeah, stop talking about finances.
Oh, good.
Gotta check. Gotta check them. Um, but thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. Join us next time on Dadgic, Magic, the Universe, and everything. See ya.